Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's Muhammad again. So let's go ahead and continue. This time, we're going to be talking about the FSMO roles. Now, what are the FSMO roles? And guess what? That's why I actually have two domain controllers. So we could see, compare other differences between both of these domain controllers, which are now what? Remember, they're actually global catalog servers, and then both of them are actually running DNS. So if I go to Tools on server one, Active Directory users and computers, I could actually see the domain. And I do have two global catalog servers, and this server is running DNS. So if I go to Tools also and I open DNS, let's take a look. And I do have my zone, and there's two name servers. That means there's two servers hosting the zone. I could also check from my second server that DNS is actually running, and both of them are actually global catalog servers. Remember, they sync once per an actual hour, right? So I have both of them as you see. And let me just take a look at DNS. And here's my DNS. And that's what I see over here. So my DNS is actually running, and I can see the zone with both, all right, of the name servers. Now, what is the difference between them? Well, guess what? One of the domain controllers is actually holding all the FSMA roles, flexible, single, master operations. And what does that mean? What do they do? These are like the engines of Active Directory. That's how Active Directory works behind the scene. Without them, nothing functions in Active Directory. For example, let me show you here. Let me go ahead and go to my first server. I'm going to show you this from the command prompt. So if I open the command prompt and I do the command to look for the FSMA roles, which is netdom, that's a command line from using Active Directory, and I do query. I want to query the FSMA roles, and look at this. Look what it's telling me. There's five of them, and they're all pointing to server one. I'm going to tell you what each one is. If I go to my second server, watch this, and I go to the command prompt and I say, you know what? Let me go ahead and do this. netdom, right? Same thing. Query FSMO. And I could see all five of them. They're pointing to server one. See, server two cannot hold them. It's either server one or two. This is from the command line. I'm going to tell you what each one is. If I want to do the graphical, I would do it through this. So if I go to users and computers, this is server two. If I right click on my domain, I could choose operations masters. And look, it tells me who the RID master is, who the PDC is, all right, and who the infrastructure is pointing to server one. This is the instance of server two. Instead of going to server one, I could just right click and change domain controller and look at server one itself. And I could see who's holding the FSMA roles. And it's going to tell me it's actually server one. All right, see, there you go. Server one is holding. See, these roles, some of them are per domain and some of them are per forest. Remember, the forest can have multiple domains. The moment I only have one forest and one domain, that's why they're all pointing to the same one. The RID and the PDC and the infrastructure is per domain, where the schema master and the domain name master, that's per a forest, and we'll see why. But like I just showed you through the graphical, the PDC, RID infrastructure, if I want to see the domain naming master, I would go to another console that we didn't look at yet, which is domains and trusts. The only time I open this if I'm actually establishing a relationship between two different organizations, two companies merging, one company's taking over another. So what I want to do is if I right click, I do operations master, it tells me who the domain name master is. See that? Now, the schema master, and I'm going to be explaining what each one is. I just want to show you where they're actually located at. The schema, think about it for now, is just the blueprint of Active Directory, the structure of Active Directory, the tabs, the fields. That's the schematic, right? It's like the map of Active Directory. I cannot see just like this. I have to open it through an actual console. So if I open MMC, Microsoft Management Console, do I see the Active Directory schema? It's like the registry for Windows, and I don't actually see it. They don't want you to mess with it. So I have to actually run an additional command over here, which is reg svr32 space schmmm I have to register a file as you see. So I have to run this. Now it says succeeded. Now I actually open the MMC and file. add remove snap-ins, and I should see Active Directory schema. There you go. All right, it's right here. Then add, then OK. So if I right click on the schema itself and I do Operations Master, it tells me who the Schema Master is, server one. So what I'm trying to show you is all the FSMO roles are actually pointing to server one. What are they? That's what we're about to actually find out in our next lecture. So we'll see you guys in a moment. All right, guys, later.